talk about the Dragon 32 again. I did a video previously about the machine and how it came about, but since then I've got another Dragon 32 which has come into my possession. It's different from most because it doesn't need massive amounts of work. It doesn't even need cleaning up or retrobrighting. The actual machine is in almost factory new condition, which is very unusual for a machine that's well over 30 years old. But as always, the plan I had was to do some repairs on the other machine and then try and do a comparison between that machine and the one I've just got to see if it get up to the same standard. But when I did some digging into the machines, I found there was a marked difference between what was supposedly two identical machines. Now, it's not uncommon to find differences, but these were quite big differences in the machines. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over them with you, and then at the end of that we're going to then discuss some ways to move forward on the other machine which needs work, or my original machine, and then to find out what was going on with the new machine and if it is really that much different from the other one. But as I say, we'll have a look and we'll try and find out what's going on. Okay guys, I've done a bit of a story on a Dragon 32, but the machine you saw in the last video was this one here. Perfectly working order, really good machine, keys are nice. The spacebar needed a little lubrication on its little tiny hinges, but other than that it's fine. But I have a time warp machine over here, and you can see the difference in the colour. Now this one is the same model, same year, same spec, same everything, but yet it hasn't faded at all. It hasn't yellowed, it hasn't tarnished, and it's literally a time warp model of a computer that came out of the factories in 1982. Now I've taken the lid off of this one. There's only 4 screws, and you can see how clean this machine really is. There's no dust bunnies in it, no dust, no dirt. The machine, for want of a better word, is almost new. And it's in just about perfect condition really. No capacitors blown. Everything is where you would expect the machine and expect each component to be, and there's nothing other than it's almost a brand new machine. Now this is the serial number of the one that's just about in mint condition. It's 295849, and it's a 32K Dragon 32. And here's the serial number of my original 32, and you can see it's got the original manufacturer's Metoy PLC Swansea on the bottom. And it looks like this one's quite an early model. Now here's the inside of the older machine. It's looks, for all intents and purposes, quite similar. Still fairly clean, but it's nowhere near as clean as the other machine is. But we have a daughter card with the CPU on it. And it looks like there's a bit of a fix going on with this wire, which I think that's related to the speed up poke. You see, later machines, such as the other one, weren't able to have the speed up poke, so things like Flight Simulator wouldn't work, and that won't work on that other newer machine, but it will work on this one. You see the little wire, which is from this little daughter board, is actually going straight through to the video generator on this machine, and it seems like this was possibly quite an early machine, maybe based on a pre-release or a prototype, because can't find any reference to this daughter board anywhere else, not even on other photographs of daughter boards on Dragon 32s. The only reference to one was a daughter board that allowed lowercase characters, but this certainly isn't. Okay, so on inspection, it's an issue 2 daughter board on an issue 6 motherboard. It looks like it's a video timing fix, but strangely enough, it's also got a non-socketed area for what looks like lowercase ROM. So you could get lowercase letters on a Dragon 32, which is what they put in the 200 model later in its life. But why this one would run the speed up poke and the other one, which is, it is a later machine. I mean, it's about 100,000 models down the line, so there's something that needs a little bit more further investigation. But at the end of the day, you can see the difference of these machines just by looking at the condition of them on the inside. I mean, we're going to have a few problems with the old capacitor very shortly, because I think 1 or 2 of them are showing signs of wear and tear and slight bulging, but at the moment this machine is quite stable. Now, as with all things, the more digging you do, you find out that it's actually a Mark II motherboard, which confuses things even more, because this little daughter board here should not exist. It shouldn't be on here. It should be a direct CPU in a socket on the board. See, this machine gets a bit more cloudy as the more you look into it. But whatever the cause, this machine runs a speed up poke, and it accelerates the CPU, which again allows the games and applications to run at a better speed and to run a lot better. So again, this machine's going to be a subject of a restoration shortly, so that's why I'm doing a very, very quick overview of the two machines, and then we're going to restore this one to its former glory. And I think the very first thing we're going to do is to sort out the yellowing and the bad condition of the case. Not so sure about retro brighting. I'm going to look into something else because it doesn't last, and the machines go back to this kind of yellowy condition very, very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look into this, get something together, and then we're going to experiment with this machine to see if we can find out a way of making them last longer. Okay, so hopefully that will be coming very shortly. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up soon.